The world of manga artists is quite sketchy, pardon the pun. Each artist has their own style and use their own methods to get their ideas onto paper. Series like Bakuman and the classic Otaku no video chronicle the ups and downs of designing a story and making a comic, as well as the road to becoming famous, or at least well known in their field. Both these examples are quite detailed in their approach, using either real-life techniques or companies in their narratives. The comic artist and his assistants takes a more light-hearted approach, which is both oddball and unsettling. The story is about Yuki Aito, his assistant Sahono Ashisu, and their manga Haji Cafe. It's a mediocre manga which is trundling along, being published in a manga magazine. They report to their editor Otosuna, who rails on Yuki's obsession with female undergarments, and the female form as a whole. He forgoes story for sexiness, and is constantly punished for it. Yuki then hires another assistant, Rina, who is there to be cute on Yuki's orders. Each episode contains 4 mini-stories which have little impact other than containing a few gags and ending with a stamp summating the overall impression on one of the main characters. That's pretty much it. A collection of small stories with little or no consequence. Yuki is a bit of a confusing subject. He looks like a normal guy, but he has never touched a female body before. His solution? Ask his assistant to grope her own breast and then subsequently grope her other breast. Yeah, not exactly appropriate. That sentence just now sums up my feelings of the show. Not exactly appropriate. Yuki is a pervert, but he does a good job of masking it as naivety. His voice especially masks that, being a lot higher than I first thought it would be. It was really jarring, and I still find it to be a mismatch. Judge for yourself if you watch each 14-minute episode. Sahono, his lead assistant, is quite deadpan, and somehow plays along with his requests whilst also being the more knowledgeable foil, a kith to Yuki's Zap Brannigan. I get why Yuki would want to get the feeling of touching a woman's bosom correct, but he doesn't need to ask his assistant to actually do it in front of him. Keep that private, son! This is where the show falls flat. It's not funny, or at least not funny enough to sustain itself for a full series. It does have its moments from time to time with occasional blips of self-deprecation when commenting about the amount of male-driven fan service such as panty shots being prevalent in the industry, but the moment goes away again when Yuki is shown to be as vapid as the subjects he's supposedly lampooning, or not as the case ends up being. The show itself is not badly made though. Its quality is good considering this is meant to be a casual slice of life series, and doesn't look that bad. It's certainly non-offensive, and in some places looks impressive, such as when Yuki goes off on a rant about whatever he chooses to inappropriately bring up. I find myself drawn to the eyes of Sahono and her friends, as they're quite distinctive and jump out at the screen at me. I know that's not where the animators are trying to get me to look, but that's what I honestly find appealing. The rest of it is alright, but the overall impression is that I'm left feeling bored. It's merely a string of events which lead to a dramatic punchline on Yuki's part, and the rest of the cast are merely there to aid him in his quest for jokes, which rarely impress. Do I hate this show? Well, no, actually. Its short stories keep it from getting too dull, and the short length overall aids it even more. Yuki isn't a loser or anything. He wants to be a great manga artist, and he does have his foot in the door with a published manga. This tale is about how he deals with the day-to-day life of being a manga artist. He did something right, but his methods are certainly questionable. Also, his actions towards his female friends are harassment. Sahono is a cute character, but she doesn't really get a chance to shine, and comes off as a bit of a smartass, which is a shame. Rina is joke fodder for Yuki, plain and simple, whereas Otosuna shouts a lot and punches Yuki in the face, trying to tame his libido, but ultimately fails. I'm disappointed in this show in the end. It had the potential to be a cute little show for young adults, but instead comes over as a vehicle for a guy who needs to get laid, but doesn't know how to do it. I'd give it a go, but don't expect award-winning content here. The comic artist and his assistants is available to stream on Crunchyroll. My rating? Caution. Have low expectations and it should be a decent time sink, but don't be surprised if this isn't to your taste. If you like what you heard, please visit my Patreon campaign to help grow Anifile at patreon.com/MasakoX.